What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Fly, and Blackbeard is a pretty weird character and a very mysterious character as well. Marshall D. Teach was introduced all the way back in the Jaya arc, which was over a decade ago, and yet we barely know much about Blackbeard. We know that he has plans, but we actually don't know what exactly that plan is. Me and my friends, the very few that I have, like to consider Blackbeard the king of off-screen because all his best feats all happen off screen, like him killing Thatch, the end of Ace's battle, giving the scars on Shanks, as well as the payback war and taking over Whitebeard's territory. And when we do see him, he has this very unique but strange personality where it's a mix of courage and cowardice, where he's somehow both stupid and ambitious, but smart. He's a very weird character. We know that he needed the dark fruit, aka the Yami Yami no Mi, and that he has interest in taking over the world. But what exactly does taking over the world mean to Blackbeard himself, and why does he want to become Pirate King? Why can't he eat more than one devil fruit? And what is going on with Blackbeard's body, past, and his future? Blackbeard is a part of the infamous D clan, but he's very different from the others that we've seen a part of that clan. He's very mischievous, malicious, and one could say evil. Blackbeard has a grand scheme that we do not know of, and back in one of the SBS volumes, Oda stated that Blackbeard's hobby is studying history. And I think that's very important to bring up because Blackbeard has a lot of interest in history, and that he probably knows a lot more than he leads on, especially in terms of the Yami Yami no Mi, where he was researching it. Like, how did he come to find about this devil fruit? Why did he want it specifically? There's so many other great devil fruits, and the Yami Yami no Mi is a very spectacular devil fruit in itself, but it has a lot of drawbacks in that he takes double damage whenever he gets attacked. Remember that point because we'll get back to it later on in the video. But Blackbeard also has some sort of multiple personality. He's a very flamboyant type character. Sometimes he's arrogant, sometimes he's loud, sometimes he's even a coward begging for his life, and sometimes he seems like this master planner. Back when the Straw Hats met Blackbeard for the second time during his speech to Luffy about dreams, Nami mentioned that Blackbeard may possibly be able to help them find Skypiea, and then Luffy then says it's not he, and then Zoro interjects saying it's probably they, and in some translations it's Luffy saying it's not one guy, and then Zoro interjects saying it's more than one guy, I think. Many have speculated that Blackbeard does have multiple personalities and there's more than one soul living in his body, while other people are thinking that Luffy and Zoro were just talking about his crew that were nearby on the island, which they did meet one by one when they're there. As a person who likes crazy ideas, I am actually not opposed to the idea of Blackbeard having multiple souls or multiple personalities. I'm not saying that Blackbeard has multiple personalities, but it's definitely something to look at because he does seem to act different every time we see him, and he's very interesting because every time we see him, I want to learn more about him and what he's plotting, but we never really get answers to that. We know that Blackbeard is a dreamer and a man of fate, and he will follow fate wherever it takes him. He thinks he's destined for things but has no problems admitting when he's failed or when things don't go in his favor, because he knows that eventually he'll get where he needs to be, and that he trusts fate, as seen back in Impel Down when he basically got one-shotted and nearly died to Magellan, and it was Shiryu that saved him, thinking it was fate that allowed him to survive. There's also the connection with Blackbeard and the number 3. I've discussed this in a previous video about his third and final devil fruit, but Blackbeard has some sort of deep connection with this number 3 where he has 3 missing teeth most times, sometimes it's more, but he has 3 guns. There's also that mysterious 3-clawed Wolverine weapon that Blackbeard used to use in the past that we actually have not seen ever since. Maybe he's just holding it in a box for safekeepings. His pirate flag consists of 3 skulls. Blackbeard is definitely inspired by the Greek mythology of the Sisters of Fate, who were 3 sisters that were to preserve, monitor, and were the embodiment of fate and destiny. Similar to Blackbeard, who is all about fate and destiny. But that's not the only 3 thing that is connected to Blackbeard. There is an old myth or an old story about death comes in 3s, where if one person dies, 2 other people related to that person will die as well. And in Blackbeard's case, that did happen, indirectly or directly, with Ace, Whitebeard, and Thatch. The entire Marineford War started because of Blackbeard killing Thatch to gain possession of the Yami Yami no Mi, which resulted in the war, and then him defeating Ace, and then Ace getting killed indirectly because of Blackbeard by Akainu, and then at the end, Blackbeard ended up killing Whitebeard himself. Because of his connection with the number 3, many people in the fandom has theorized that Blackbeard will possess a third devil fruit, already has his third devil fruit. Some already speculate that it's the Cerberus, 3-headed dog, guardian of the underworld, which makes a lot of sense and actually fits with the character of Black. If you want to know my thoughts on Blackbeard and the final and third devil fruit, just click the I above and it'll link you there, or the link down in the description down below. 26 years ago, the first time Blackbeard and Shanks met was during the battle and clash between the Roger Pirates and Whitebeard Pirates that lasted for about 3 full days. And it was here that we learned that Blackbeard actually doesn't sleep for whatever reason. And it was here where Shanks was sort of jealous at this fact and even said that, oh wow, he's not able to sleep, that means he can live twice as long, or at least party twice as long as he can, because he can live a whole 24 hours of sleep and not needing to sleep for 12 hours. He can do twice as much of the things he needs to do. And this is important because Oda did say that the mystery behind Blackbeard's body involves Blackbeard's age. Now, people have gone back and seen this connection with Blackbeard not being able to sleep all the way back in Drum Island, the very arc where Blackbeard was first mentioned because he was the one that made Wappo flee his country because he raided his kingdom. For whatever reason, we still actually have no idea why he even did that. As Luffy and Sanji are going up the hill, Luffy states to Sanji that he heard a rumor that people that are from the snow countries tend not to sleep because they're scared to die. And Sanji kind of questions where he got that from, and Luffy then says that he heard it from someone in a bar. And that's very interesting because that piqued a lot of interest in people, because Luffy hasn't really gone to any bars previous to this adventure. In fact, Luffy doesn't even like alcohol, and there's only one bar in the series that Luffy is familiar with, and that is Makino's bar. So the question is, where did he even hear this story from? Many people have speculated and theorized that he heard this from Shanks or someone from Shanks' crew. So many people are thinking that Blackbeard is originally from a snowy kingdom and that he's just too scared to sleep, but I think it's a lot more deeper than that. Some people have even stated that Blackbeard has multiple personalities and he's scared that if he sleeps, one of them will take over, or some ridiculous wild theory of that sort. Now, back in Oden's flashback, it was mentioned that they met a younger Marshall D. Teach, and it was there at this port or town that Blackbeard wanted to join Whitebeard's crew and kind of forced himself to join, stating that he has nowhere else to go. And we later find out in the series that the only reason Blackbeard wanted to join Whitebeard's crew is because it would give him a better chance at finding the Yami Yami no Mi. So it's safe to assume that before these events happened, Blackbeard was already researching and trying to find out what the Yami Yami no Mi is, and was already going through the book of the devil fruits. Now, we know that Blackbeard is a plotter and a mischievous dude, and he's always plotting. So I would safe to say that he was always waiting for Whitebeard or a pirate in his caliber to dock at that town so Blackbeard could join and find the Yami Yami no Mi. But the question comes, how did Blackbeard even come to find out about the existence of the Dark Fruit? Now, we do know that there is an actual devil fruit encyclopedia that tells you all about what you need to know about devil fruits, and even specific devil fruits. That's how Sanji learned about the invisible fruit, or whatever it's called. But someone must have told Blackbeard about this devil fruit. Like, there must be a specific reason into why he wants this devil fruit per se. It obviously allows him to gain the ability to absorb or take other devil fruits, so we're all assuming. We're actually not sure about the exact process. But also, throughout the entire story of One Piece, almost every single character has had a benefactor or an inspiration. There has always been someone that set that character to where they are now and set them on to this path. Doflamingo, Treble and his little mafia. Shanks, they had Roger, as well as Buggy had Roger. Marco, he was an apprentice, had Whitebeard. Whitebeard himself had Rocks, as well as Big Mom and Kaido. Even the Straw Hats, Luffy has Shanks, and Usopp had Yasa. Jaguar, Disol, and Robin, the list goes on and on. So with this, there had to have been someone that set Blackbeard onto this path and inspired him to doing what he is doing currently, and his aspirations and his dream in becoming Pirate King and ruling the world. And the crazy thing is that every character that we've seen, or at least major character on the pirate side that had aspirations in ruling the world, were connected to one man. Shiki, Kaido, and Big Mom right now all wanted to rule the world, and they all have connections to one character, and that's Rox D. xebec. Back in one of the Viver cards, it was revealed Blackbeard's main ship is called Saber of xebec, and reading that at the time, I was a little stunned in the fact like, oh, that's a weird name to name a ship. Xebec is such an interesting name. I always assumed that Blackbeard's main flagship would be called Queen Anne's Revenge, similar to the real life Blackbeard. That was the name of his ship, but instead it was called Saber of xebec. And not too long after that reveal, we learned that there was a pirate named Rox D. xebec. Again, the word xebec comes back up into play. So the theory is that Blackbeard's benefactor and inspiration was actually Rox D. xebec. And then add in the fact that Blackbeard's main island of operations is Beehive, which was said to be where Rox D. xebec formed his pirate crew. I think that is too much of a coincidence, and I think the relationship between Blackbeard and Rox D. xebec goes a lot deeper than we are led to believe. Now, I'm not saying that Blackbeard is the son of Rox D. xebec, which would make Blackbeard's real name being Rox D. Teach, and maybe he just took Marshall D. because that's the name of his mother. But I'm not exactly sure if that is the actual connection. It could possibly be a mentor and student type thing. Maybe after the Battle of God's Valley, he washed ashore on Blackbeard's village and Blackbeard found him, and he kind of taught Blackbeard the ways until he ended up dying. And because of that, Blackbeard set off on this adventure and wanting to find Whitebeard, because he'd heard what Whitebeard was once a crew member of Rox D. xebec, so he knows that a powerful pirate like him would help him fulfill his goals. Now, I don't think that Rox had the possession of the Yami Yami no Mi, because it would be weird if he did have that devil fruit and no one really mentioned it at Marineford War. Like, Whitebeard was like, oh, like, that was the power of my former captain, or Garp and Sengoku, who are also part of that old era, would recognize that devil fruit. It is possible that it is, and Rox D. xebec was actually a last minute plan that Oda introduced into the story. So that is a possibility still. Because the dark fruit is in the devil fruit encyclopedia, someone must have used it prior to Blackbeard and gotten the knowledge of it and put it into that book. It could be Rox, although his history has been wiped away as long with his pirate crew, so I'm not exactly sure on that, but I'm banking on that it's more of a student and mentor relationship, and it was xebec, that kind of parental figure for Blackbeard, similar to how Shanks was to Luffy. Also, Blackbeard is 40 years old, and Oda did make it a statement that his age is important to the mystery of him, so it's possible that Blackbeard was born 2 years before the fall of Rox D. xebec and his crew, so he could possibly still be the son of xebec. I even seen theories that xebec's soul is residing in Blackbeard's body, and that's why he's able to eat more than one devil fruit, and that's why he has kind of that multiple personality thing going on, and he acts different each time we see him. I'm not exactly sure on that one. That's kind of insane. It'd be crazy if it happened. I would like it, but I don't really believe in that exactly. Also, because of Blackbeard's interest in history, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he actually has interest in the Void Century and may possibly even know how to read the poneglyphs, or at least has a similar understanding, similar to Roger, where he has the voice of all things, but he has a deeper understanding of that power, so he can actually more or less read the poneglyph using that ability. Blackbeard definitely seems like the type to want to know what his middle name D stands for and the history behind it, so him researching that is not out of the realms of possibility. Now, back to something I mentioned earlier involving Blackbeard taking double damage in regards to his devil fruit and that being his big weakness. Although we do know that the dark fruit is a very powerful fruit, it's kind of like a giant storage where he can store things, people, buildings, weapons, items, anything he wants in it. It's a giant black hole. He is a human black hole in a way. And although Blackbeard is a Logia, he's not able to turn into his element like other people, and in fact he's able to be physically touched and things cannot bypass him, and he can't really turn into his element, which everyone finds odd. His devil fruit damn near acts and functions as a paramecia since he's not able to turn into his element. But there is one theory into why he's not able to do it. Now, this theory in particular is not exactly mine. It's something I read years ago, and I absolutely love the theory, and to me it makes perfect sense as to why Blackbeard has this weakness in his devil fruit. Now, we know that all Logias have a natural weakness, and when they're in contact of this weakness, they can't really turn into their element and their devil fruit. Invulnerability is therefore nullified, as seen when Enel was fighting Luffy. Luffy was rubber and Enel was lightning, and because of Luffy's body, he was able to hit and touch Enel at all times. And again with Crocodile, when he's in contact with water, he's not able to turn into his invulnerable state where he can turn into sand. So the theory goes shows that the reason Blackbeard has this weakness is actually because he is always in contact with his natural weakness, light. Now, whether it be from light bulbs, headlights, the sun itself, Blackbeard is always in a vulnerable state and is always in contact with his weakness, and that is why he's able to be hit. And it's only when he's in complete darkness where he's able to finally utilize his full Logia potential. And unless Blackbeard is completely surrounded in complete darkness and there's no light whatsoever near his body, only then would he be able to turn into darkness or shadow itself. And that might also be the reason why he put a cloak over himself and Whitebeard's body when stealing his devil fruit. Not just because he's hiding the fact that he's trying to steal the devil fruit, but he's also hiding how he does it. And it's possible that when he's in complete darkness, he put the cloak over their bodies so he can completely turn into darkness and enter the body of Blackbeard and stealing the essence of the devil fruit from there, because he is a literal human black hole. That whole last part of him turning into darkness and entering Whitebeard's body might be a stretch, but I find it fascinating, interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. And it would be very cool that that's the reason as to why he's able to get hit normally and he's not able to turn into his elf. Also, a little interesting fact about Blackbeard: it was revealed in One Piece Databook Green Secrets that Blackbeard's original name was not going to be Marshall D. Teach, but his original name was supposed to be Everything D. Teach. I don't know what was going through Oda's head on why he wanted to name him Everything D. Teach, but there had to have been a reason why he wanted to name him that, and that's probably going to be a clue to the origin and true nature of Blackbeard. Although he didn't go with that name, I think that's a big hint into what he thought of the character of Blackbeard and his devil fruit being able to suck in everything. And after acquiring all of Whitebeard's territory and becoming one of the 4 Emperors of the Sea, Blackbeard seems to finally be on the move once again in recent events, saying that he wants to get something before the Marines get their hands on it first. We're not exactly sure what exactly that entails. Blackbeard might possibly want to get his hands on the SSG, the new replacements for the Shichibukai system, or he could be on his way for the hunt for an ancient weapon, possibly, but I kind of doubt that. Or some people have theorized that he could go to Impel Down and break out Doflamingo, because Doflamingo is currently locked up in Impel Down, and he was said that the world government are trying to send assassins to kill him. And before, when Blackbeard met Doflamingo during the Shichibukai meeting for the Marineford War, they seemed to get along quite fondly and seemed to be very cool friends. So maybe they kind of struck a deal and Blackbeard's on his way to rescue Doflamingo. I don't think that's the case, but that would be cool to have Doflamingo and Blackbeard team up, especially because they're supposed to be enemies of each other, with Doflamingo being a celestial dragon and Blackbeard being a D. But Blackbeard is a special D, as he's not like the rest and seems to be very malicious. Or because the world government have acquired the SSG and are now hunting down the 7 warlords of the sea, it's possible that Blackbeard is actually trying to search and recruit them into his pirate crew. And thus that's a possible way you can set up the potential matchup between Shiryu of the Rain and Dracula Hawkeye Mihawk. But whatever Blackbeard is trying to do has me excited, because Blackbeard is finally on the move for something, and we know that he is on the hunt to become Pirate King. And he, just like Doflamingo, he mentioned the throne wars are beginning and someone is ready to take the throne, and we all know that Blackbeard wishes to be the ruler of the world, or something similar to that point. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, he hasn't exactly stated what his plan is. He kind of seems to be just going on the fly. I feel like he just has bullet points and he just goes, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, but how we're gonna get there, I'll figure it out later on. But we know that Imu-sama is definitely interested in Blackbeard as well as Luffy, Shirahoshi, and Vivi. Why exactly, we're unsure. Possibly Blackbeard's lineage or his family were very important in the dealings of the world government formation or the ancient kingdom, or maybe Blackbeard's family was part of the D-clan, but they betrayed the D-clan. I've seen that theory going around that Blackbeard's family lineage is actually like deviants of the D-clan, but I'm not exactly sure what sort of threat Blackbeard possesses towards Imu-sama, and it seems that Blackbeard's going to be a lot more important than many people theorize. I do believe Blackbeard will be the main antagonist of the Laugh Tale saga or arc when they finally get to Laugh Tale, and he will be the main antagonist there, but he won't be the main antagonist of the series. I think that will be the world government and Imu. Blackbeard might even survive Laugh Tale, as seen that Imu-sama has interest in Blackbeard cutting up his wanted posters, so maybe Blackbeard at the very end of the series will help Luffy and take down the world government, because we've seen that there's one thing that pirates will team up and fight against, and that is the Marines and the world government. Regardless, I cannot wait for more Blackbeard and more revelations about his character and the mystery surrounding him and what exactly his plan is and why he wants to rule the world. There might be a lot more going on. Maybe he knows the D's once ruled the world before the world government and he just wants the world to go back to its original status quo. Anyways, that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This is probably my longest video to date so far. Blackbeard's just a very interesting character, and he's just a weird mix of like everything. He's both courageous, cowardice, stupid, ambitious, smart, masterful planner. Like, he's just the whole shebang. And to be honest, I don't even find Blackbeard as a masterful planner, as he just seems like he has bullet points and just goes with the flow and sees what happens from there. He doesn't have a concrete plan. He just goes, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna get there because fate will allow me to get where I need to be. He is the antithesis and the complete opposite of Monkey D. Luffy. He is a very ambitious man, and he is the very definition of what a pirate is. Courageous, violent, but also sneaky and conniving. He has no honor and he doesn't care about how he gets it, but that he gets it. He just cares about the end result. There's a lot of mystery surrounding Blackbeard, and what his connection with Roxy xebec will be explored later on, because I think there's way too much of a coincidence between him and Roxy xebec, especially the name of the ship. And I want to know more about Blackbeard's past. We've seen an image in a SPS long ago about Blackbeard's past. He's under the moon crying and seems to be mad. That could have been a hint that he can't sleep himself, and that honestly would be genius foreshadowing on Oda's part if he did that. He seemed to have had a rough childhood, so I don't know what exactly happened to him, but I can't wait to explore it and see why he is the way he is now and who his benefactor is in his past. Put down in the comments what you guys think of Blackbeard and his endgame goal and what exactly his future role in the series is. Do you guys think he's going to be the main antagonist of the entire series, or will he become a future ally to defeat the world government? I don't know. But that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It would help the channel grow, and it would help me as a fellow content creator to give you guys better content. But that's it, guys. Hope you have a good day and a good night. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodles!